Good morning, y'all. Good morning. We are on the inside today. I don't know what I was thinking about yesterday, but I knew I had an appointment today that I got a little bit later. But happy belated Mother's Day to anybody who I didn't get to hit up yesterday. We got a little bit of stuff to talk about this morning. Um, Let me cure my ashy lips. But I hope everybody had a awesome Mother's Day, um, a awesome Sunday. We gonna call it whatever it is you want to call it. We hoping that it was a good day for all. I'm in here straightening up some stuff. I done totally moved every single thing in this shed, changed it around, rearranged it to make everything make more sense than what I already had going on here. But yesterday I got a message. I got a lot of comments yesterday. So yesterday, one of the comments that I read, let me go and see, can I find that message that that I wanted to say something about. Actually, there's two messages that I wanted to talk about that I got yesterday that just made me sit and think. I actually, one of them, I had to snap myself out of the thought process because it was crazy. Okay. And first of all, it was not a bad compliment. It was actually a good compliment. But just like we was talking in the garden the other day, when we walk out into the garden, the first thing we recognize the things that we consider ugly, instead of walking in and finding the beauty in whatever is there. Well, what I'm noticing in this season in my life is that is the first thing that I notice whenever I walk into whatever, whatever I see or whatever. It's like I can't find the beauty. Well, I can probably explain it a little better, like if I can give you the scenario. But let me look to find the video that I was telling y'all about. Good morning, Beers. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I hope your weekend was an amazing one. I had a great weekend. I actually did. But let me go and see, can I find this video that I was telling, the well, not the video but the comment. And I'm gonna read to you the comment that I got, letting you know it was a very good comment. Nothing wrong with it at all. It's just what I take and do with it in my mind. So yesterday this comment came from let me stroll up because there was a lot of them. Okay, I found it. So the comment came from it's a Terrence kind of thing. And you all, if you need a good pick me up, a great smile or whatever, you should go over and visit it's a Terrence kind of thing. He do a lot of dancing, and he like a pick me up for the day. Like if you having a down day, guaranteed to go over to him. You're gonna always be greeted with a smile, unless do something they ain't got no business doing to him. But a very nice person. Like he like that person. Like if you down in the morning time, you go over there and you can watch his videos. He's an uplifter. No doubt about it. I'm telling you, when I've been going through my situations and stuff, I've been able to go over to his page and he make me smile even on days I don't want to smile. On days I don't want to smile, I'm very angry or whatever, but he has that the gift of uplifting you when you're down. So he commented under my page, and that's it's a Terrence kind of thing. That's the name of his page. He came through and he commented. He said, and it was I made a post yesterday, and the post was I pull up, and my husband asked, "Where is my wife?" Meaning I'm out of my usual. I don't really get dressed up and stuff like that, but I pull up somewhere and I'm all done up and everything out of my norm. My husband was like, where's my wife at? Not that he's saying that. Well, anyways, I ain't going down that because I'm like thinking about the comments or whatever. But anyways, his comment was, I posted two pictures, a picture of how I normally look every day, kind of like right now. I'm very, very natural. I don't do a lot. I don't do makeup and all of that kind of stuff. So, and I'm a t-shirt and shorts kind of girl because I do a lot of stuff out in the yard and everything. So he came through and there's two pictures. He says, absolutely beautiful in both pics. Very beautiful, very blessed husband to have you. Happy Mother's Day. Now, what can I do with that? It's a compliment. But when I got to the part where I always look at people as a blessing to me in some kind of warped way, and it's sad in a way that the part of this comment that I wanted to pick apart, that I actually found myself sitting there picking apart, was very blessed husband to have you. Now I'm looking at that. Good morning, Miss Coffee, and thank you for the thanks for the shout out, the shout outs to the man up above for me yesterday. I always get excited when you do that. Thank you very much. But the part that I want to pick apart is the part where he says, "Very blessed husband to have you." So one would think, what is there to pick apart about that? I look at other people as blessings to me. Some kind of way in my mind, I never look at it as if I'm a blessing to somebody else. And yes, that's sad, but over here we talk about things that we need to work through, especially us growing and doing different things in our life. So, after reading it, I read his comment, I left it, and I went back reading through the other comments later. And when I went back and read it again, it was like something hit me like really hard. And all of a sudden, instead of me staying in the compliment that was given to me, and several people gave the comment, but they didn't add the part about me being a blessing to my husband. Now, I'm not saying I'm not a blessing to my husband. I just don't never look at it that way. So all of a sudden I'm sitting there and I read this comment, and then you ever just be sitting there and you go off into la la land and you don't even recognize that you're sitting there staring at the same thing for a long period of time? That's what I was doing yesterday, sitting there staring just off into space for a long time. And that same comment that he gave me, I took that comment and I ripped it all to shreds. Even the part with Happy Mother's Day and everything. It's like my mind went down like a tumbling situation and going over everything. It was like asking myself, am I worthy to be said Happy Mother's Day to? Am I worthy to be called, to be said that I'm a blessing to somebody? And I just started going down the list, and I started thinking about all of the flaws and the mistakes that I have made over the years. And all of that stuff was telling me, ain't nobody blessed to have you. Sad. So that was where I started it. So I'm going to tell you, I after I started looking at it, I said, let me go back through my process of how I usually process things. Because when you start out in a place where you have where you have people that treat you like you're nobody from the beginning, you're just like, you play the background and everything all the time, you know, it doesn't put good thoughts in your head. So I have to set myself up for like this thought process that I go down. So yesterday I read, and I'm gonna be pausing while I'm reading the notes because I don't remember what all I wrote, and maybe I don't want to share all of that with y'all of what I was writing down. I said, as I read this comment, I couldn't just accept it. I had to figure out how I can undo his compliment. How I can undo his compliment. Why am I undoing it? Why am I questioning what he said? And I search myself to find why I can't accept it. The first part of my process is to look for all the bad that I think that I did wrong. So we had this conversation out in the garden the other day, that when I walk in the garden, the first thing I do is I start pointing out all the negatives out in the garden. But then if you go and look at the garden, there is far more positive out in the garden than there is negative. There's two things that I can tell you that in the garden that is a negative to me, but it probably wouldn't be a negative to anybody else, but it's just the way that my mind is set up. And I'm trying to change it, which is why I'm talking to you all about it. I'm trying to change that, and I'm trying to grow more in that area. So if there's only two things that I can name out in the garden that I don't like, but then there's 100 things out in the garden that is absolutely beautiful, is the same situation, just a different scenario as what I'm doing right here. So I looked at all the bad things that I can find and why I can't accept the comment that he and so many other people gave yesterday. So then all of these different situations start showing up in my mind, you know, with it's like you know, things as the mother part. You know, you look at certain situations. Can you call yourself a great mom? The first thing I want to do is I want to tear down the way that I mothered, the way that I did things. Go down to, oh, you're not no good mama because this situation happened, that situation happened, that situation happened. Okay, this is my thought process. This how I go down, and I bang everything out, right? I bring all of my flaws to the floor and drop them there. Then the next part of my process I have to go through is I have to look at the situation. So let me just name like a situation that for me would take away, that I would use against myself to take away from I'm a good mother, or I'm a good wife. I have to look at the situation. So I'm going to give you a scenario that I'll talk about. Let me see. After I could give to what my kids think, they ain't been hungry, dirty, or lacking. Okay, amen to that. Okay, but I'm telling you where like my thought process start out is like I start at this place and I always start out beating myself up, and then I have to go down the line and I have to ask myself several questions so that I can end up in the right headspace when I finish going down this thought process, right? So one of the things that I started to do is I started to say all of the things that I didn't like. Okay, and all of those things as I'm coming to there's situations that every parent does not like. So what I do is I go into the archives and I dig up everything that I don't like. One of the scenarios I dug up was there was a situation that happened a whole bunch of years back, but this is one of the situations that came up that better break it down. So on the 4th of July, um I don't remember what year it was. I just know it happened on the 4th of July. We went to this place. We went to an event at Crane's Roost here in Orlando. Um, and on this particular year, they had, hey Savannah. On this particular year, they had the people from American Idol. They had Elliot Yamin. They had Lil Lloyd, I think, or whatever. Whatever. They had him. They had a couple. They had a few people. A few people that was there, right? So out at this event, it's like 10,000 people, right? And whenever we go somewhere, my kids know you don't leave my side or no nothing, right? So we got everything we go to, like when it's events like that, I always go super duper early so I can get where I'm gonna be, have my conversations with my kids and everything. So I'm telling y'all about a situation that I would beat myself up about, right? So I'm right there at the rails surrounding the water. And you all, if you ever in Orlando or whatever, go to Crane's Roost. It's so beautiful and peaceful. If you like peace, and if you just want like a beautiful place to go and maybe have a lunch or sit by a the little waterfalls or whatever, go there and visit Crane's Roost. It's a nice place that bought me a whole bunch of peace. So we up by the rails because the people from American Idol, they gonna perform out on the lake that's out there. They gonna perform in the middle of the lake. They got a platform out there, right? So I'm right there at the rails. I can hold on to the rail. Me and my other kids, we out there lined up. And I think on this day, I took, it probably was 7. It probably was 7 kids on this day. I don't remember who all was there with me, but I think I had 7 kids out there with me. So we standing right to the rail, and right off here to the side of me, probably like 15 feet over to the side, there's like a stand over there that they got elephant ears, the fair, like kind of like the fair setup, but it's like right there. It's like I can turn my head to the side. So I got two of my daughters asked me, can they, and they had like some little friends from school that had showed up out there, and they was like right there in the grass area with no problem for me turning my head to the side, and I can visually see them. Me and my other older daughter is there together. We keep visually, both of us keep looking over there, looking at them. I'm on TN anyways because there's so many people out there, and I'm just trying not to be the helicopter mom. And during this time is also when I was questioning myself about being so hovering over my kids or whatever. So I'm trying to give them a little bit of space and not have to be right by my side. They got their little friends over here, and they in a well-lit place, and I could just keep on looking over there, checking on them. So I look over there and check on them, and I say I'm gonna call y'all when it's about 20 minutes before this program is going to end, because I don't want nobody to get caught up in, all of these people moving around once ago. There's almost 11,000 people out here in this place. But I'm telling you, I got a good eye shot of my daughter. I see the color clothes they got on, everything. I can see everything. Right? So right before, I guess my one daughter was counting the minutes. Honey, when she knew it was time for me to call them, I look over, and there is no daughter. It's not only her, but she has, I want to say at this time, the one daughter is like 15, and the daughter that's with her is like 9 or 10. So I'm looking over there at them, and all of a sudden I go to look over there the next minute, and then I got the older daughter standing next to me, and I look over at my older daughter, and I was like, in this story, I'm gonna I'm gonna say I'm just gonna say daughter. I ain't gonna even call it because I can't. Anyways, I look over and I don't see them. Where I just looked over there and they were there, and all of a sudden now I'm looking over there, they're nowhere to be found. So I'm asking my daughter, I was like, where did they go? And she was like, I don't know. I just seen them like right there, right? So now I'm looking everywhere in like the crowd, and now people are starting to shuffle around. We out there in the midst of 11,000 people. Everything is shuffling around, and I'm looking for the colors, and I'm trying to hang on to the ones that I already got and everything. And this is why I say, and all in this one story, I'm questioning about being a blessing to my husband, and am I worthy of saying happy Mother's Day to myself? Just my thought process. So now 5 minutes done went by. We still don't see my two daughters that's missing. So we looking, and I'm like, and I'm just trying to go down my daughter's thought process, because I'm like, she knows that we are like right here. Like, how far do you have to go to walk straight to us, and you're less than 15 feet away from us? Like, how could you get lost in this situation, right? So we looking, and my daughter has a phone, which back then is the lessons that I learned today, is why I don't give cell phones to my kids. But anyways, that's another story one day. Let me jot that note down. So I look over, and still there's no sign. We moved on to like 10, 20 minutes, and now still no sign. I don't find them, and there is no reason that my daughter should not have walked straight to me with no problems. We should have been eye to eye. So after looking for them, we walked all over the place. Now I went and contacted the police and everything. There's police out there everywhere, but they also acting as if, child, ain't nothing happened to your daughter. All these people out here, they just somewhere shifted in the crowd. But anyways, I reported it. They sent out a message or whatever, and I'm looking, and my daughter has a phone. I'm calling her phone. I know she's out there. At this time, her service is not on, but there is Wi-Fi there in the area. Another plus to the area, it has Wi-Fi out there. So it's like there's no reason she shouldn't be answering her phone call. So now we at an hour. We out there looking around, still nothing. Ain't heard nothing from the police or no anything. So now I'm in beat mommy up mode, because Shauna, you are so dumb and stupid. You let your kids be oh, Miss Coffee, I wrote that down. We definitely gonna talk about the cell phone thing. I let the oh Lord. Okay, so now I done talk to the police, ain't nothing, they ain't give me no information, no nothing to me. It looked like they ain't really doing much of anything, or no none of that. So now we got to wait till this place clear out. I said I'm in a place, 11,000 people, and I cannot find my 10-year-old, and I think she was 15 at this time. The 15-year-old and the 10-year-old. Can't find them. So now the less and less people get out of there, the more creepier it's getting to me that my daughters haven't appeared yet. And mind you, I have never been separated from them before, never lost them, never misplaced them, no none of that before in my life. And the first thing I'm thinking is, oh my gosh, my husband finna be hotter than a firecracker at me. So now I done took these kids out here to this place, and he done said to me several times before I went out there, make sure you keep your eyes on the kids. And I remember I used to be so annoyed that he always say that, because anytime I go somewhere, I always bring our kids back, and they in hold, they never hurt, no none of that stuff. So I used to be annoyed that he said it, but he always said it, and now he said it this time, and now I have lost our kids because I wanted them to have a little bit of freedom. So as this place begins to clear out, mind you, there's a mall there and this big old place there. 11,000 people. So imagine how many cars are there. I'm sitting in this mall parking lot. My daughter knows where I'm parked at and everything. Does not come to the car where we parked at, no nothing. And imagine I'm sitting here waiting on them to approach me. And I'm just seeing this parking lot just get clearer and clearer. There's no more people in this parking spaces. I go back to the officers and I talk to them and I say, listen, I came and reported to you and I said, I haven't found my girls yet. So now I'm really, really panicking. I'm crying and everything. So I finally pick up the phone and I call my husband and I say, listen, I explained to him what happened or whatever. And you can hear, oh gosh, I can't. Do anybody know what it's like to lose one of your kids? So also, this is a trigger for me because I always think about when I got missing on that day. And I don't remember my mom them looking for me or know anything. I don't remember none of this stuff. What I do remember is I got a whooping. So I can hear like a person do a sigh or something like that. You can hear like the disappointment in their sigh or whatever. So this the thought process I'm going down as I'm reading his compliment. And I'm like, I'm finding every reason that I should not take this compliment because I don't deserve it. So we going on hour number 2. No kids. Sitting inside the van. I tell my daughter, my daughter sees I'm starting to panic now. She say, and at the time, I have some kids. Some of my kids back then they called me by my name, and some of them called me by, if you raise your kids close to your mama, and they hear everybody calling you by your name. Anyways, I don't gotta explain all that, but I'm gonna say it anyway. If they living close to your mama, everybody call your mama, and they call you by your name. Then that's how your kids will react to you or whatever. So, anyways, my daughter looks over at me and she say, Shauna, don't cry because they're not missing. She said they making themselves missing. And I looked over at her and I was like, they making themselves missing. She was like, no, she has her phone and she's talking about the 15-year-old. She said she had her phone and everything. And there she could have called or whatever. So now I'm like thinking, what places can I go that's right here in this area? I mean, there's all kinds of nice restaurants and everything there that she could have went to or did anything. And she said, no. She said, I feel like she's playing with you. I'm hearing what she's saying, but right now my kid's missing. So, there's another kid talking to me, trying to tell me. But then I started to think that makes sense that, all of a sudden they just disappear right before I tell them, okay, I'm going to call you over here early. And remember, I'm communicating with them. I've been taking them to the bathroom, all this good stuff throughout this whole situation. And all of a sudden, this last couple of seconds, they get missing. So now the parking lot is completely empty. My daughter's still missing. I tell the officer, listen, I'm going to ride down the road and go to the McDonald's because I know they know that McDonald's right there. And I'm going to ride there and I'm going to check there because I know that's a place that you can go to possibly. All right, somebody was trying to call me that just then. But I know that's a place that you can go to if you need to get some Wi-Fi or something, and maybe she'll go to that McDonald's. So I told the officer, I'm going to ride up here to this McDonald's and I'm going to check this McDonald's, then I'm going to come back. So I go back to the thing. The parking lot is completely empty except for police that's riding around on their bicycle and all that stuff right there. I'm sick. Now, this thing ended like around 10:30, 11 o'clock. It is now 2 a.m. and I'm still out to this place looking for my missing daughters. And nothing was going to tell me to come home without my kids, because my message, like I had my uncle came and got my boys one time, and he was saying that he was going to take them to the beach. And I told him, I said, the beach is not one of my favorite places, because, different things that happen out there. And I always told my uncle, if you take my kids away from here and want anything happen to one of them, don't bring any of them back. I said, because I don't think it's going to be good. So now I'm out here and I'm getting ready to stay out here in these streets and look for my kids. My husband called me and he asked me, he said, "What you doing?" I said, "I'm out here still looking for the kids. Like, I'm looking for them. I can't leave my kids out here." At 2:30, my husband say, "Shauna, come home." Do you know how disappointing it is to take your kids away from the house and for your husband to say to you, "Make sure you keep your eyes on them," and you go and you do all of that, and then you come home with 2 kids missing, and he the one that got to tell me to come home. I say, "Well, if I come home, then what I'm supposed to do?" He say, "Shauna, you done looked in all the places that you can in that moment." So now I done went on Facebook and I done sent out all kinds of messages and everything. And I'm like, if anybody see my kids, please contact me. The police been contacted. We talking back and forth to each other on the phone and everything. But I'm just telling y'all about the thought process that I went down to destroy a comment, a respectable comment, a nice comment. The way my thought process go down all of these loops and stuff to destroy anything in my head that somebody is saying nice about me. So I go down this thought process and I'm like, how am I going to go home without our kids? So I go home, my husband just pacing back and forth. We done sent out all of the things or whatever. I done called the family. I got family members that are driving in from 4 hours away and everything to come. The people are showing up, talking to the police all throughout the night and everything. And we sitting in the living room. My husband is pacing back and forth or whatever, and he finally says, he say, "They gonna show up. They gonna show up." So after people start seeing my messages on Facebook, my first message came in probably about 4 o'clock in the morning with my sister-in-law said, "Well, they was out here not long ago, or she seen one of them or something, that she was talking to one of them. I can't remember exactly what the message was, but she said she was talking to one of them." So I was like, "Uh-oh." But how did she get from there to there? Because that's back on the side of town where I'm at, and where we were at, it was like more than a half an hour away from where we live at. And I'm like, she seen him over there. So then I got another phone call because now my son calling around and he doing his investigation too of who have he seen. My son get a phone call from one of his friends and say, "Oh, your sister is here at this party. Your sister was over here at this party right here, right?" So we done went through this whole night and everything. So I'm telling you all the process that I got to go through to make it make sense to myself with why I deal with things the way I do. So we go through this whole night. Everybody up, people done came in from out of town and everything, and we looking for these kids. Police coming back and forth, police calling, all of this kind of stuff. After the family members done rolled in and everything, we sitting in the living room, and I promise you, around by 10 a.m., I hear a car door closed. And when I heard the car door close, about a minute later, my two daughters walked through the door. When we walked through the door, when they came inside the door, straight inside the house door, my oldest daughter would have to keep walking straight ahead. She don't gotta come past nobody to go into her bedroom or whatever, because it's like a straight shot. The 15-year-old walks in the house and goes straight to her bedroom as if she slept in the house with us last night. I'm inside of the living room, and my brother and I are sitting there talking to each other. And I'm talking to his wife at the time, and we're talking about we're gonna ride to the store. They was just trying to find different things for us to do to either get out, probably look around and do some other stuff or whatever. But anyways, the girl walks in the house and go to her bedroom as if she stayed the night in the house with us and keep walking. Now the 10-year-old comes walking inside of the house, and she walks through, and by then her daddy is standing in the hallway, and he was like, "Hey, come here for a minute." So he asking the 10-year-old, "Where were you?" Now, going back to think about it, because at the time I wasn't back there when my husband was talking to the 10-year-old. And so I ain't had no clue about this. I just learned this recently. Going back to think about it, because let me tell you something, I was hot with my husband at this point, right? Because I'm who I am, he who he is, and I don't have all the information that he have, knowing that information today. Okay, so my daughter goes back there because her dad is called. Her dad done showed up to the door. He can see her face. The other one he can't see, right? So when she walk up to him, now I'm telling you, I'm finding this information out right now, right? So he asking her. This my daughter telling me the story. She walk up to him, and he asked her. He say, "Where have you been?" She say, "We was walking from Crane's Roost." My husband say, "Walking from Crane's Roost." Now, let me tell you something. In a car ride, I told you, it's a half an hour drive over to Crane's Roost from where we used to stay at. So if it's a half an hour drive over there, what you talking about? Maybe a 2 or 3 hour walk at the most. At the most, if you walking from over there, right? So my husband keeps asking her, "Where were you?" She kept saying, Oh, we've been walking all night trying to get home. So he keeps asking her this question, and that's the same thing that she keeps saying. But also, too, in the 10-year-old's face, you can see that she has been sleeping somewhere, which already being through the things that I have gone through, my concern is more so what happened while you all were out. Is like, I need to know or whatever. So my daughter, the 10-year-old keeps saying, we were out walking all night, but she got sleep all over her face. You can see her eyes still crusty. You know when somebody done been asleep. So she keeps saying that. And the next thing I know, you know, daddy wasn't playing. She got what we call a whooping. And you all can take and do with that whatever you want to. It been years and years ago. But anyway, she got a whooping. And this is why I got upset with my husband, because she got a whooping. And of course, in my limited thinking, this is triggering for me because y'all already know I got a whooping when something had happened to me, but nobody asked me any questions. Her daddy was back there asking her. So I'm mad with him because she getting a whooping, and she's a 10-year-old that was with her 15-year-old sister that knew better. And if anybody was going to get the business, it should have been her. But then I didn't understand that it wasn't about you were gone out all night. The whooping was about she was standing there lying to her dad and over again after he's asking her. And she kept saying, we just was walking all night long. We were just walking all night long. So, right, okay, that's one part of the story. But at the same time that situation is happening, mind you, we in the other part of the house, and the other daughter done walked through the house and went in her room as if, she was just outside taking the trash out, and then she came back in the house, right? So my brother sitting there looking at me, and my brother say, where is she at? I say, oh, she just walked in her room. I ain't saying nothing because I already know at this point when she walked through the house and she walked in there nonchalant, I'm like ready to pop off because I know damn well you ain't walking up in here acting like you, yeah. Just think of where your mind would be as a parent after this done happened to you all night. You ain't got now wink of sleep. You been up crying, the police involved, and everything. So my brother say, oh, hell no. We ain't finna sit here and pretend like we ain't set off Amber Alerts. People ain't drive 4 hours here trying to come here and look for them. And she gonna walk up in here like she grown or something. My brother say, oh, hell no. My brother got up off the sofa and he walked in there to where he walked into her room, and he said to her, he say, come on out of this room. So she walk out of the room and she walk out of there like something. Then she throw herself on the sofa. And I'm just I'm trying to stay away because my mind is saying, Shauna, just let the guys handle it. Let the guys handle it, right? So while my brother is in there talking to her about the move that she just made, and he asking her, she in there trying to get all snappy and talking all loud and everything to him, to my brother. And he having a conversation with him. So then my husband comes walking on the porch, and he walked up to my daughter and he talking to her. And the next thing I hear is this. And all of this stuff going on. And I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? My daughter is in there saying to my husband, she can do whatever she want to do because and mind you, this is one of my daughters that I did not give birth to. Okay? So she ended up clapping her hands together saying you don't do nothing for me, this, that, and the other. And at the time, I'm thinking to myself, and I'm trying to keep myself distant away from her. And I'm walking y'all through this process because I'm telling you how crazy it is for me to start where I start at. But it's the process that I have to go through in my mind to make it make sense, right? So she and that clapping her hands together and all of this here and all of that there, and she telling my husband how we don't do nothing for her and everything. And oh my God, when she started clapping her hands together, like it triggered something. I walked around that corner and she got her hand. She actually standing face to face with my husband as if she like she go to work and stuff every day. But she, she popping off and everything. When I heard her clapping her hands and stuff in his face, she was in there sitting by my brother. I walked around the corner, and at the same time, my sister-in-law went ahead and she went to the door because she said, she's like, I can't stand no disrespectful kids. She said, let me get out of here. She said, because that's a problem for me. I walked around that corner and all I could see inside of my daughter's mouth, it was these bright pink braces that she got. I mean, you see these missing teeth I got in my mouth. I done had these missing teeth for a minute. But we paying for this girl to have braces in her mouth and everything. Not no insurance paying for it, but coming out of pocket. And she popping her hands in front of his face. I couldn't even let him stand in the fire for long. I walked around that corner, and that mouth that she was just popping off at, I just put my hand like this, and I grabbed her by the mouth. And I told her, if she don't shut the fuck up, just like that, if you don't shut the fuck up, I say, girl, I will snatch all of these braces out of your mouth talking about don't nobody do nothing for you. But I knew at the time, and my brother knew at the time, that the anger and frustration that I could have took out on this girl for even trying me in that way. My brother took his elbow and literally did me like this. Boom, and hit me in the side and knocked me off of him. And I just turned around and I looked at her and I said, girl, I say one more motherfucking word. One more. And I'm being straight honest with y'all. I say one more motherfucking word. And I said, I promise you on everything, if I get back on you one more time, I say there ain't nothing, not even my brother, gonna be able to do to get me off of that ass. I say, now play with it if you want to. And I proceed to turn around and go to the door and join my sister, because at that point I already knew that I was beyond frustrated. Start to walk out of the door. And I think my daughter had the clue by that point that I probably better not say anything else, because Mom done lost her mind right about now, right? So I walk out of the door and I'm going through all of this thought process, right? And at this point, as I'm thinking about this, because of this comment, and I'm thinking to myself, girl, you show great restraint to that. And then I had to ask myself, now, if you had to go back again, good morning, Priscilla. If you had to go back again and do it all over again, what would you change in the situation? So I'm talking y'all down the thought process now. What would I have done different in the thought process? Well, I came up with two things that I would change. One of the things that I would change was, ain't nothing wrong with you being a helicopter mom, making sure your kids is in right standing, especially when you done been through some stuff your own self. There's a lot of things that you gunning to protect your kids from that you went through, and you make a promise to yourself. Don't ever second guess yourself helicoptering, hovering over the top and making sure everything with your kids all right. I would change that I gave them a little bit of leeway at that moment with all of those people being there in that moment. I would change that. The other thing that I would change is the 15-year-old did not get a whooping that night. She should have. And I'll say, going back and thinking about it, and I know that there's gonna be people that don't agree with that. That's your business, not none of mine. You live how you live, you get it how you get it. Okay, we believe in corporal punishment over here. Um, if I had to go back and do it again, she would have gotten a whooping that night, because I think in a lot of ways it said, well, she got a whooping, but I didn't. Does that mean that they didn't care about what moves that I made that night? Um, is the way that I went back and thought about that process. So I would definitely change it to that, because then all of the stories start to come out after that point about all of the things that happened. And that part right there is the part that I don't really want to share, that part of it. Because teenagers go through some things and they gonna do some things that you ain't gonna be so proud of, or any of that stuff. And it just is what it is. But those are the things that I would change from that night. So mind you, where I started at before is like, you don't deserve good mother because those things happen to you. You're not a good wife, or you're not a blessing to your husband because you allowed this to happen. And I talked about all of that just so that anybody that's starting and you going through a process and you walk into the room and the first thing you do is tell yourself you don't deserve better, you don't deserve for somebody to give you a compliment. Go through your thought process and ask yourself, what made you the bad guy? What made you the bad guy in this situation? Take out of it what you can, get a lesson from out of it, talk about the things to yourself. I'm talking a conversation with your own self. Make it make sense in your own mind. Um, and there are people I know for sure, because I know I ain't the only one out here on this limb that go through that kind of thought process. And those are the things that I would do different. And going back to it and looking at it all, because that's not the only situation came up in. I just kind of wanted to give y'all the thought process of something that I was thinking about. And then after going through all of that, still got everything situated, ended up having a barbecue and everything, and the day ending well. But it was the scariest thing ever to have one of your kids missing, and to also have the stories that I have, and then your kids missing. Now, for a long time, um, I asked my daughter questions about that night for a long time, and she stuck with her story. The 10-year-old, um, we was just walking all night trying to get home. She stuck with that story forever and a day. And I'm telling you, the mom in me, the trauma that's on the inside of me, I never gave up with asking my daughter questions because I wanted to know. I knew the 15-year-old was not going to tell me. She had coached the 10-year-old to say what it was she said and told her don't change it. I'm just now getting the answers to what really happened a year ago. And I'm telling you, my daughter is now 24, 25, 26, up in that area. And I called her last year because just because it's done and over with and it didn't happen don't mean it's complete for me, because I, as a mother, I still need answers. I need answers. I want to know what happened that night. So I told my daughter, I said, it's something that been bothering me for years. And I guess I moved this way because I wanted somebody to move for me in that way when I was a kid. I ain't never gonna give up on the answer as to what all happened to you that night. I want to know. So one night I was up thinking about this situation again. And I went back to my daughter and I called her late night one night. I say, I know for you, it may be done and over with, and that was so long ago. It been 15 plus years ago. I say, but it's not over for me. I say, because I need to know. I need to know what happened that night. And I wanted to know, did anybody touch you? What happened? I needed clarity because nobody didn't look for those answers when things was happening to me. And I'm gonna go down in the blaze of glory asking my daughter the same question 500 times to find out what happened that night. Well, my daughter finally told me what happened that night. She said my daughter set her up, told us that somebody who was sitting next to her, she told them that was her cousin. And she was like, oh, that's my cousin. And she said for the whole night, the person who my daughter told her was her cousin, that's who she sat there and she talked to her little cousin all night long until her little cousin went to sleep. And she said she finally sat there and she fell asleep too. So, and she said nothing happened to her. And she said during the time that this all was happening, I mean, she gave me the whole setup. And it was like, why after all this time am I trying to figure out the answers? It's done and over with. Well, no, duh. I'm a mama. I'm a mama. I need answers. So she said that night they were there and she knew, my daughter knew that I was about to come and get them. She said somebody had walked up to them earlier and told them about the party. And she said that my daughter asked those people immediately, can she catch a ride with them to the party? And they told her yes, that she can catch them to the party. But she had my daughter attached to her at the hip, right over there off to the side of me. So they had to figure it out. And she said when they started to walk away, she was telling her and actually having a fit, telling her, no, mom, them is this way. I want my mama. And she was telling her, no, they ain't that way. I looked over there and she was just, you can manipulate a kid when they're that age, but she was telling her, no, they ain't over that way. We look for them. And she was like, they was starting to walk over to the area like where the mall was. And she was like, come on, we going to the mall. And she said when they got in the mall, they was in there talking to a group of people that they were that was inside of the mall or whatever. They said they talked to them for a little bit. Then they met up. They went around the long way. And she said she was trying to tell her, no, let's just go over here. It's like being that my 10-year-old daughter knew where the car was parked at and all of that stuff. But her sister was directing her and telling her that they can't find me. And she was like, can't we just call her or whatever? Because I want my mama. I want my mama. Let me go back this way, And to know that she was in a situation that she wanted her mama, and couldn't get back to her because somebody else was misguiding her at the time was still heartbreaking to me after all these years. But I'm telling you, this is the thought process that I went down, trying to destroy the comment, a positive comment that somebody had given me. And I can tell you at this time, and see, this is what I have to do. I have to go back and go down memory lane. Um, and I told y'all, my husband does not like to eat out. Every now and then he like a Philly cheesesteak sub, and he prefer that I go in the kitchen and I cook it up for him besides going to the people and get it. But every now and then I can go and get him, a sandwich from someplace. But he like home cooked meals. I can go down the line and tell you a bunch of things of why I am who I am. I took y'all through all the process that I went through, and it was a hell of a ride. But it's a Terrence kind of thing. I thank you for that compliment, and yes, I am a blessing to my husband and my children with all of my flaws and all of my mistakes that I thought was mistakes. And if you going down a thought process that's like this, go and look into your own self and the things you need to change, switch them up. Do something different. And the things that don't need to be changed, don't even worry about them. But I absolutely am a blessing to my husband. We raised 14 kids together. And you think that I'm not a blessing to myself? See, I have to go down all of these channels and stuff to get to the bottom of, Shauna, who are you really? And that's a part of, people say you look crazy talking to yourself. No, baby, I talk to myself all the time, because me talking to everybody else told me that I wasn't nobody. I was nobody. I was not worthy. But me talking to my own self and telling my own self who I deem me to be, no matter all of the ups and the downs that I have, I am that girl. I definitely am. And so are you too. And if you keep going through these processes, you will absolutely grow to a place where you see yourself bigger and better than anything else that can stand in front of you. And I promise you, all you got to do is keep on talking to yourself and keep on talking to God, and you will end up in those same places every time. Every negative comment, every uh, great comment that you go through, look at them and research them. Your life will tell you everything that you need to know. Whether you throw the comment in the garbage or you take that comment and put it in your bag. And Mr. It's a Terrence thing. I'm gonna take your comment and I'm gonna put it in my little purse. It's already enough, because I am a blessing to my husband. Okay, so that's my story on that one right there. And okay, earlier in the chat, I was talking about the cell phone situation, and Miss Coffee said, please hit on that. I'm gonna go back into the chat and I'm gonna read what Miss Coffee said. Miss Coffee said, I want to hear about the cell phone. Don't forget. They know I'll go off into a whole nother conversation and be talking all that. And let me read that. I'm gonna go back to the cell phone thing, Miss Coffee. Oh, that's true. That's a good point. Plant the ceiling a light blue with some white clouds. Oh, so it'd be like, oh, we on the inside. All right, Miss Coffee giving me some ideas. Let me see, do I got any blue paint where I don't have to buy none? Ooh, Miss Coffee. That's a good one. Paint it like it's the inside. Like it's the outside. Oh my goodness, that would be cute. Okay. Okay, then that's a good one right there. Paint the ceiling a light blue with some white clouds. One wall light green with pretty plant stickers. Paint etc. in a greenery effect. Next wall yellow with the sun design, light green grass that runs. Oh, all right, Miss Coffee. You know I got a couple of artists in my family, child, and my son would love to come over here and paint the wall up, with a decoration or something on. Come through, Miss Coffee, with the ideas. Into the green wall. I'll let you know when the other two walls come to me. All right. Definitely one in a pinkish color. Paint. Okay. All right, that sounds good, Miss Coffee. I didn't even think about that. We can be on the outside and the inside, and we got the AC flowing in here now and everything. Getting some things happen, and then my plants inside. We got we finally got. Let me show y'all a little bit of that before I get to the cell phone thing. But I ain't gonna forget. Let me show y'all. We got a new green period. I don't actually know how these grow lights and stuff work and everything, but I got some stuff that's looking good and some stuff that's looking pretty horrible to me. And I had to figure out that my husband said you is you burning up the plants because I ain't have no circulation or no air in here going on the plant. So they was looking all. I was like, what's wrong with them? But anyway, so we just got this new grow light that we have here that I could use this one and do it. I think this one of the ones that Miss Coffee went and got, but my husband ordered this grow light. I don't know if y'all seen the grow light, but he ordered this grow light for me. Off of Temu. This is not a promotion for them. I don't order anything from Temu. He got an account with them, so since he already did it, then we gonna rock with him. But he got that grow light right there, which light up all of my plants and everything right there. So that's our new setup, and I'm in here still like putting away stuff and getting it put away. But okay, let's go to the cell phone talk. Yeah, that's gonna be good. Absolutely, Priscilla. Look at God. Look at him, girl. Yes, he's working. Now the cell phone thing. Now, when it came to it, I never thought about getting no cell phones for my kids. And let me keep up with the time, y'all, because I do have a appointment this morning. Let me look and see. Okay, we doing good timing. I got an appointment this morning. So now the cell phones with my kids. We got 14 of them, mind you. Um I always had this thing is like I'm not excited about getting those cell phones for my kids. I just didn't want it for them. They could get on the computer, and we had computer where you they at the desk. You sit to the desk. We can walk back and forth past that computer all day long and see what you're doing on there. I can see how many pages you got drawn up, all of that kind of stuff. We had we had it set up like a school in the house. We had two computers up at the computer desk, one on that side, one on this side. Go ahead and use that right there. And we had a house phone. I still stick to that right now today. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so we were on a good path. No kids had cell phones or no nothing like that. And then I had two of the kids that I had. The mama nor the daddy was active in their life. Let's just say they was on the same playing field, right? So then there was a spring dance that was coming up, and out of nowhere, I don't remember how it happened, whatever, but she started talking to her biological dad some kind of way, and she ended up telling him that it was a certain dress that she wanted for her spring dance. And so he came through and he was like, he'll get the dress. He didn't tell me he was gonna get the dress for it. He didn't even tell me that they was going shopping for none of that kind of stuff. But he had asked, can he get them and take them out for the day or whatever? And I was just like, yeah, you can take them out for the day or whatever. So while he had them out for the day, He took her shopping and ended up getting her dressed. A part of me was a little annoyed by that because we had already made plans to get her whatever, but appreciated it that you know, he did it. We weren't looking for him to do nothing because to be honest with you, at this point, he hadn't done shit. And I'm just, you know, y'all, I told y'all I be trying to get away from cussing, but some of the events and stuff that happen in my life, you definitely gonna hear me say a cuss word, and we'll get back on schedule. We'll get back on to our regular scheduled programming another time. Hadn't did shit and had done made some claims already that as if I was asking him for anything from the get go, that he gonna make sure that I never spend a dime of his money. I don't give a damn. I ain't asking you for your money. Don't want your money. You ain't shit. You ain't gonna be shit. You are the man. That's just how I'm feeling right now. Cause you know the mama is my auntie. So I do love my auntie. But at this moment right here, that when I'm talking to y'all, I'm in my story. I'm back in it. I'm living in it right then. So this the stuff that's going through my mind. Um, you know, it was always let Shauna do the work, and we gonna complain the hell out of it while she doing the work and tell her how she can and can't do things right. So he go out and he get her spring dance dress and everything, but also he make another spot. And I tell y'all about, he said he told me about I never spend none of his money or no nothing, right? I don't care anyways, nigga. You ain't getting it legit anyways. So he done said all that he done said, and I let him go on by to go ahead and spend your time with the girl. He take them out. He bring two of their other sisters with him. They go shopping or whatever. He get their dresses and everything. Now when they come home, he ain't made no phone call to me because these kids living in my house. If you go and take somebody's kid, and again, let me think about what I'm saying, because these are his biological kids that he ain't been around, and we already talking about they're 14 years old at this point. He ain't been around. He also the man that came through when they first started living with me back in Guilford and came and pulled up in front of my yard with my cousin on the truck with him, throwing his kids stuff out in my front yard. Yeah. See how I be going from one story to the next, but I told y'all all in another story or whatever. Okay. So he done numerous things. He take them out or whatever. He ain't give me no phone call or no nothing to ask, is it okay to get them a cell phone with services already added to it. So what he do is he go and buy the two girls both a cell phone. He get them turned on and everything, and here they come to the house, right? He done gave each daughter $200, but mind you, he ain't did shit for them in more than 10 years at this point. So okay, whoop de do, you gave them $200. When the next installment you gonna give them? But anyways, he hand them the $200, and they come back with cell phones. So the one daughter come in the house and she said, "Well, my daddy bought us cell phones. Can we keep them?" And at that moment, I said to my daughter, the older daughter, the same one that was talking to me, and telling me that they knew I was they they hiding from me instead of while I'm looking for them. That daughter came to me and she said, "Well, he bought us a cell phone. Can we keep it?" And right then, I was instantly annoyed, and I knew that I was being challenged with him giving them the cell phones. And I said to my daughter at that day, I say, I'm not gonna take the cell phone away from you. You all can keep them. And I say, but I'm gonna let you know right now. I say these cell phones are either going to be a blessing or they came to destroy. Child, when I tell you, the first thing started happening is every now and then my husband would go and snatch the phones, when they least expect it. You looking in the phone, The first thing that went off was one of the neighbors down the street. She had a son, and he was about in his. He had to be about in his 50s back then. Close enough. Mind you, I said ain't nobody never babysit our kids. No, none of that. So this particular night, my husband snatched the phone. He laying in the bed and he reading through the phone. And then he hit me on the leg. Hey, look at this. Hand the cell phone over to me. And these people that my husband done known forever and a day. Now, mind you, I done told y'all the Candy Lady store was a triggering place for me, right? So we back at the Candy Lady store again. Now, I'll tell you, there are so many things that been in my life that's triggering because of where I grew up and how I grew up. This the Candy Lady store. Son, this is her son. I'm looking at my daughter's phone and she in there having a message, talking back and forth with this grown ass man that ain't no relation to our family, no nothing. I can't even understand why the hell his phone number even in her phone, period. And as soon as I see it, it's like my head is like, boom, explode. My daughter is in that phone talking to this guy about she ready to make some grown folks moves. Not in my goddamn own house. It ain't happening. And in the phone, he asking her, do she really think she ready to make those kinds of moves? Nah, whether you trying to give her good advice or whatever, nigga, you ain't the one to be having those type of conversations with my daughter. I don't give a fuck who you trying to be, whether you trying to be her bestest friend or not. You are not qualified to be having those kind of conversations with my daughter. So coming from where I'm coming from, nigga, I don't give a damn what kind of stipulations I'm about to put on your name or no nothing, but bitch, you fucking with the wrong daughter right now. So I'm all in my traumas at this time. And I'm pissed. So now my husband already got the information. He done tapped me on the leg to give me the cell phone. My husband done already got up because it about to be some straightening out here. It's about to be some straightening out here. Nigga, you in here talking to my daughter, who is, at the time, I think she was like 16, 17 years. She about 17 years old at that time. The next thing I know, we done woke, cause we in the bedroom at the time. My husband done walked down the street and done knocked on the Candy Lady store and called her son outside. You got to do some explaining right now. Why? And my husband wasn't hearing none of the explanations he was trying to tell, because what he was saying was he was trying to talk her out of being ready for that type of situation. My husband said he don't give a fuck about none of that right now. None of that. Nigga, you ain't even got no business having her phone number. You ain't even got no business texting and talking to her. Like, what kind of conversations? You a grown ass nigga, you 50 years old and my daughter's 17 years old. Why in the hell is you talking to her? Our kids don't even hang out with each other. You ain't never drove them nowhere. You ain't never picked them up from nowhere, nigga. You ain't got no motherfucking excuse. And it's just like that. So it started a whole thing. Mind you, my daughter, this one 17 at the time, and I got the other one is 15 at the time. He bought both of them cell phones. So here it is. It's coming in. I already done told my daughter these phones going to either be a curse or they going to be a blessing. So far, everything that's happening has been absolutely to destroy. The next thing is we get a phone call with somebody saying that they got some pictures, of my daughter, and I'm like, that's not true. We got her phone, looking through the phone, looking through the phone. I ain't found anything. No nothing, right? So something else happened, and I forget what it is. And I'm this a warning to y'all who thinking this cannot be your kid. Fuck around and find out if you want to. Okay, keep on playing with it and think just because you see every other kid out there got a cell phone in their hand and they able to call whoever they want. We went through our whole life and they wasn't even know they ain't on cell phones out here. They do not have to have no cell phone. Go to the office and use the phone in school if you need to call me or whatever is the way that I look at it. But I definitely know ain't no kid finna die without no cell phone. And that's on everything. But anyways, here are some little lessons that you better be willing to look for and everything. If this is what you gonna do, you gonna give him a phone. So we done got the little phone call with some boy saying that he got some pictures of one of my daughters that he should not have, whatever, right? Um, I look through her phone, I take the phone and I look through it and everywhere. I'm not that phone savvy and everything because I ain't been too long had no cell phone my own self. I don't know that there's areas that you can lock up or no nothing or whatever. But anyways, I didn't see anything in the phone I'm looking for it or whatever. And you would have thought, I've turned it upside down, looked in it and everything, everywhere. I don't see anything, right? So something else happens that prompts me to take my daughter's phone from her. Now let me tell y'all what happened. Now this boy done said that he got these pictures of my daughter, right? And I can't find them nowhere. So I take her phone from it. I'm telling you, everything in me, this is God that's absolutely showing me. Because I always say to God, I say, God, don't leave me in the dark when it come down to my kids. I want to know what they doing. Bring it to the forefront. Don't let me be blind. Please don't let me be blind. I need to know what they doing. I take the phone from her. And I tell you no lie, I have the phone sitting on the nightstand. I don't know what happened, but I get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. And when I went to the bathroom, I touched the phone or something. I don't know what happened because it just like it came out of nowhere. The phone is playing a slideshow. I'm about to teach somebody, even though it's at these are stories that I really don't want to share with anybody because I believe in kids making their mistakes and everything, and they can't, it shouldn't be like held against them or whatever because they don't know what this stuff gonna do to them in the long run, right? I come back from the bathroom and I don't know if I touched the touch of me hitting. I don't know nothing about no cell phones like that. I touched the table or something, but some kind of way the phone is playing a slideshow. And you would have thought if went to her and I asked her about some boy saying that he got some unflattering pictures of her, that she would go in the phone and erase them. So I got the phone and I'm holding on to the phone or whatever. And at the time, she's not getting the phone back. And at this time, even she had done left or whatever. She never got the phone back because as soon as her 18th birthday came, she had already the night before she had packed her stuff in a suitcase and she had the suitcase ready to roll with wheels on it, right? So I never gave her phone back to this point. So then she left, and so I have the cell, and this phone is playing one night, and then it's playing a slideshow, and in the slideshow, it's showing me all of the pictures that she went in my bathroom, and took revealing pictures of herself. And it's just screen after screen after screen. And I'm like, oh shit. So, and this did not happen to me only one time. And I know that I have some very smart, beautiful kids. And if you thinking that there is things. Let me tell you something. There's other things too with these cell phones. You don't have no way of you. There's things you can put blocks up for on these phones and stuff. And these kids know how. Amen. Korean rotary phone. That's the best they need. You have no idea that these kids can be just as smart as you can and go and do their thing with these little cell phones and take all the blocks and all of that stuff that you have on there. There's times my kids done been so into what they looking at on that dang on cell phone they can't even see me standing behind them watching the same damn porn that they watching. And yes, I said it. That P word. So there is so many things that your kids can get into on a cell phone when they already got to face this big old world out here without having that extra thing added to it. So, um, and I'm telling you, I have several stories about cell phones that I don't care to really share with you all because we talking about my kids at the same time. But consider this a warning to you all that think it is the best in your child's best interest for them to have cell phones just because you can have a room full of people. I know one of the things my mom and them used to say back in the days, you say, well, if so and so got roller skates, I want roller skates. What you call it got roller skates. I want to go to the movies. What you call it going to the movies? When my mama thought you ain't going nowhere or whatever, she used to say, you always want to do what everybody else want to do. If they got up on the roof and jumped down, you want to jump down off of the roof with them too. So it's like, just because everybody at school got a cell phone, don't mean you got to. They say it's better to stand out than to stand with everybody all the time. Because if all of y'all, you got all of those lights and every one of them is a red color, ain't now one of them red lights standing out. But if stick a blue light in the middle, a blue light, a white light, or some other kind of light, and who's going to stand out the most? So just because everybody else kid doing it, shit, if everybody else kid was standing there with their finger digging boogers out their nose and eating them, do that mean your kid need to stand there and dig boogers and eat them too? I mean, come on. Just because everybody have them, don't mean that your kid have to have them. And if you want them to have a cell phone, they don't have to have one that has internet access. And I can even say to you, still, I wouldn't say to that because do you know that there's people that get into your kids' cell phones and everything that your kids don't know that are not good for them or whatever, and all it takes is a text message for people to start communicating with them or whatever, and one wrong person find out, you will have no clue unless you checking it. And then, okay, say for instance you checking the phone and they delete your messages because this is one, or the person on the phone, because you do have people who be directing them. Okay, when you finish talking to me through text message, make sure you delete all your messages. So groomers are absolutely real, and this stuff can be going on and you not even know none of this stuff going on by the time you be done figured out that something really is going on. So take I told y'all I done fit that word into my vocabulary. Not to each his own, since somebody said it to me, to each their own. To each his own. If you willing to take those risks, go ahead and take them, because it doesn't, just because my kid did it doesn't mean that they're gonna do it. But consider yourself warned that I don't think cell phones are good for kids. And that's via my own experience several times over. Um, and I got a lot worse stories than what I just told y'all that happened with the cell phone. So for me, the cell phone is an absolute no. We don't need them. So I'm gonna go back up and read in the comments again. I'm a carrot today, which means I'm gonna have good eyes. Thank you, girl. uh, but girl, I was in the 8th grade. My mama caught me on the phone with a there go. Corinne even came in and said it. She was in the 8th grade on the phone talking to a grown man. And you don't have no clue. And that grown man, listen, you could be talking to that grown man on the phone. Don't you know that grown, nasty ass old man know how to switch his voice up and everything? If your mama was to snatch the phone and him to be talking to her, he'll play the game. You sitting there scared as I don't know what. But then how could you stop? How could you stop it if you hand them right back the phone? Because you think once that man done got a hold to. Listen, I cannot tell you. I can go on with the stories all day, and I can talk until I scare the shit out of you about giving your kid a cell phone. I can scare you enough because I'm telling you, at a certain time in my life when stuff was happening with cell phones, it wasn't happening one time around me. It was happening several places around me at the same time. The same time. Another one, and I know we're talking about cell phones right now, but those of you all who playing around with these PlayStations and all of that crap, you got them in your house, and your kids wearing these headphones, you don't know who on the other side of those headphones and what weirdo is talking to them. I know. I know for a fact. I'm telling y'all about experiences, not what I think. There's somebody in our family that's been talking. Their son is on the PlayStation talking to somebody through some headphones, and before you know it, the person talking through those headphones are coaching your kid on other things to do. Not only other things to do that are very inappropriate, but also talk your kid into giving up their location. Turn your location on. Let me see. You got a cell phone. They be on. See, let me tell you something. These people, these predators, they be out there waiting for your little kid, watching little things that your little kids are doing and ready to pounce on them. So you decide. Let me tell you something. My kids had a PlayStation. And just to cross my mind to make me think anything going wrong. Man, I grabbed that damn PlayStation, snatched all the cords out, and I took that bitch like a flying saucer and flew it right across my fence, and it slid across the road. Now everybody would say that thing cost $400-500. I don't give a damn. The price that I'm gonna pay for anything that happened to my kids gonna be more than that $400-500 I just threw across the gate. So I'm telling y'all, these different ways of communicating with these kids and all that shit. Throw the PlayStation across the field and go get you an Atari. They can't talk to nobody through the Atari. Back when the way games used to start and all of this stuff. But I'm telling you, there are so many things and so many ways that people are after our kids. And you decide whether you got that type of room and space. I mean, what is it? What is it that you're doing that, or your kid is doing so much that they got to have these things? And some people may have good reasons or whatever, but anything that I feel like can potentially put my kids in harm's way, hell, you probably gotta make some decisions. I can't be late showing up to pick them up for practice or whatever. I'm going to have to switch some things around. I done had to switch some things around. We done showed up late to some places or whatever before. Nope, you got to do better with your timing. They get out of practice at 4:30. Whatever you doing, if practice end at 4:30, you make determination that you going to be there at 4 o'clock, 30 minutes before practice let out. Make other decisions in your life besides you getting the comfort of, oh, well, they got a cell phone, they could call you. Because I'm gonna also tell you too, if you thinking that your kids just need comfort because they going to school and they should be able to call you, honey, I can even tell you a situation where a situation went down. I was on my way home from work, and on the way home from work, I tell you, 100 police officers had to pass me with their lights going on. And I'm thinking, golly, what done happened? Where are all these officers going to? Right? Um, and they all going the same way I'm going. So anyways, I keep my music playing and I go along where I'm going. I'm still hearing police coming, whole entourage of them coming behind me, still coming. I say, dang, something really bad must have happened. Now I'm seeing all police officers coming from Volusia County, coming here to Orange County. And I'm like, something really must be going on. So, honey, I mosey on up down the road, and guess where all of those polices are headed to? They headed to my kids' high school, where there is a man on their campus loose. Not one, but two men on their campus that have pow pows with them, if you understand what I mean. I probably done said 100 things in this live that I ain't supposed to say. Um, you say on here, but it is what it is. Um, I get up the road and realize that all of these cars are pulling into my daughter's high school. And instantly, I'm in panic. But I think, oh, I'm good. She got a phone. Well, how come every parent is now stationed up at the corner? We can't get close to the schools, not even the buses. No, none of that. Everything is locked down. You had some kids that managed to run away from the school and made it up to the McDonald's. And now we as parents are up there asking other kids at the McDonald's what's happening at the school. They giving the kids giving the information to there's two guys around in the area with these things. So now there's God knows how many parents up to the McDonald's, tears flowing and everything. And it don't matter how safe you want your kids to be. Because I want you to know, at the time that this is happening, most of these kids can't even get a phone call out to you to even call you, because there is something called like the dead zone, where the kid's phone don't work at the school. Some kid there had figured out how to bypass that situation and was able to call his mom, who was standing right next to me. And this kid was on the phone crying and saying to his mom that he just want to tell her that he loved her, and she was fine up until he said that he just wanted to tell her that he loved her, and just in case he not able to say it again. And he got off the phone with her begging him not to hang up the phone. Everybody else was up there trying to contact their kids. I done called my daughter I don't know how many times. And I'm trying to at least let her know, don't get on the school bus or no nothing. And if they turn y'all loose or whatever, I'm right here. By the time the whole thing is over with and my daughter get any of my messages, she is coming out of the school and she's on the school bus yelling out to me through the school bus window with tears in her eyes. And the phone does not pick up until you're outside of the area. So again, we'll come up with these elaborate excuses that our kids have to have these things. They're not going to be cool if they don't have these things. But again, you decide what works better for you. Sometimes these little gifts and gadgets, in a whole bunch of different ways can cost us, and we not even know, um I believe my son met his wife from the PlayStation gaming system. You, it's a whole thing out there. You see what I'm talking about? You can't make this stuff up. I had a grown man's baby without a cell phone, and that's my disrespect with y'all. And he tried for more than one without helping us, just for ownership's sake, I guess. Boy, look at here. And then, Savannah, those are the stories right there that we'll talk about, and we fighting, because that's every parent's fight. Whatever you went through as a kid, and you feel like it didn't feel good to you, that's your fight right there with your kids. I want to prevent this from happening. And those very things is the things that I always try to catch up with you, especially when you done made up in your mind, that's not gonna be my kid. Um, my son 32, and just to hear the dumbness they talk about gets me. Grown men don't. Him too. Oh Lord. I had a beeper. I had a beeper too, Savannah. You can send codes to the beeper. Different things mean different things. Or you get what they say. It used to be all kinds of codes. If I think about them for a minute, there was different numbers and stuff you could send to let you know. It was a whole code to talking with the beeper, but yeah, we tell it, we in our age on here, ain't we? I had a beeper when it wasn't popular anymore, but he just got me without any of that. I remember dating a guy too, and I had a beeper, and basically he was the only one that was beeping me, but it was almost like to keep tabs on you or something. So, and it all at the same time, you thought something like that was flattering back then or whatever, but just turned 16. He acted like he was 24 and in college, and they didn't seem too bad, especially because he supposedly loved me and we were getting married, starting our lives together. Child, that's them games they are playing. Trust me. They don't, since we went through that, they done stepped the game up from when we used to play here. We got to go back to school and figure this stuff out. But this how we figure things out, by having these conversations together and telling each other. And we don't even have no idea that half of us done been through the same thing, because all of us too busy trying to be secretive about. And not that you got to tell all of your stuff, but there's things that happen to you that can be warning to other people, if not just random people. Let it be a warning that is shot out throughout your family, to put everybody else on notice that, hey, this is happening right here, to avoid this. Because my whole thing is, when something like that happened to me, I'm going to sound the alarms throughout the whole family so I can make sure. And not that I can't make sure, but I'm trying to do my part by speaking up so that nobody else has to see their child in this way. Now, if it happens to your child after I done gave the warning to it, um, then I can rest easy, because I feel like I did what I could do to try and help somebody not end up in that situation. I used to be afraid someone would lure my daughter with offering candy. Honey, it done been through all kinds of phases. Candy, nickels, dimes, and everything. Because I came up in the era where men would want to give you a nickel or a dime. And I'm telling you, my husband said he seen it a lot too. When he was coming up, he seen the nasty old dirty old men and all of that stuff like that. And my husband had a rule: don't nobody give my children no money. I don't care who he is. And my daughter had it so bad one time when she was like 3 years old, and her uncle drove through on his way home from work, and she stopped him and she was speaking to him on the side of the road. And she asked him for $2. Kids got to an age age with that, before we used to ask for quarters and stuff like that. Child, these children went from quarters to dollars and all that stuff. And her uncle was like, golly, she asked for not she asked for $1, she asked for $2. So he gave her the $2 and she started bragging to her daddy. I got $2. She just waving it to him on the side of the road. And he started walking up to her and she said to him, she said, yes, I got $2 and ain't nothing you can do about it. She said, because I ain't get this from no man. She said, I ain't get this from no man. I got this from my uncle. She said, and her uncle was like, she didn't get this from a man. Her uncle was like, I'm a man and I'm your uncle. I'm a man and your uncle. But she told my husband told her, he said, yeah, you won this time. He said, you right. That is your uncle. She said, you could keep them $2 this time. She said, he told her, he said, but I bet you better not get none from nobody else. Child, she was just a bragging because she had done got them $2 from her uncle. She said, he ain't no man. That's my uncle. But he always had the rule of no, none of that right there. I used to be, okay, I read that one. And the start of his family, he was really, 32 and already had a woman and a family. Find out eventually later on. Wow. And Savannah, I can even hear that there's heartbreak. And if your heart been broken back in the days, do you know you can actually sit back and think about it now, but you think about it in a different way. It was like how gullible you were or how you thought about it, and you can still feel the hurt, but it's not like the hurt of I want the relationship back or no nothing. It's just the thought of going back and thinking about, dang, how did I end up in such a low place like that where I accepted that at the time or whatever. I have those kinds of moments, of thinking, that dang, I really made some foolish mistakes and stuff like that. Yes, we telling our age, yes we are. But then again, that age came along with wisdom, so we ain't gonna be embarrassed about that. I could only respond to 911, emergency. Call me back immediately. With that 911, I'll be saying to myself, if I can kick my own child, just kick your own self. But instead of beating our own self up, take your stories and encourage somebody else with the place that if somebody would have only been able to say something to you or to talk to you from that place that understood a little bit more, instead of like that, the talk of like you so stupid or whatever. Like if you can find somebody who you can see yourself in and speak to them from that way to get their mind to switch to something different, use it in that way. These kids be needing these real conversations and all of that stuff, and kids think they know everything anyways until they mess around and find out when they get older and no, mama and daddy knew everything that they was talking about. We just ain't want to hear that junk back then. So but I did not even plan, I didn't even know that this was gonna turn into the conversation that it turned into. But I also read another comment yesterday that made me think about something, but I'm gonna talk about them. I'm gonna talk about that stuff later, because it goes back to me being triggered the other day. And I'm easily talking about it now because I done went through the process of like thinking about it. But there's also somebody else named Anita who left a comment up under one of my videos that made me go back and think about some things. But we'll hit on that another time. I'm gonna get ready to get myself up off of here. This has been Life with Tashana over here, where life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're gonna get on any given day. But one thing over here, we are called the high class gardeners. And I'm gonna just tell you a little bit about what the high class gardeners mean. That means that all year round we making sure we grow something. I don't care what it is, as long as it grows and it grows some food, right? The high class part come in because somebody came in here named Cassie U and said to me one day, shout out to Cassie U. Girl, how you a gardener and you scared of bugs and worms? She said, that's high, you a high class gardener. Honey, I took it and ran with it. You absolutely right. I am a high class gardener. We don't mess around with no snakes, no bugs, and no worms. And guess what? We take our garden and we tie it to whatever situation what we trying to grow in our lives, and we get the plants to match up with the steps that we make it in our lives to grow from the situations that we are in. And in real life, let me just give you a little peek into how you add that to them. I'm gonna keep on using this right here because this is very powerful. When you say, it says, be careful of the seeds that you plant. But once you plant the seed of something that it is that you want, do you know it's something about pressing that seed into the ground and covering it up into the darkness? And when that seed finally makes a plant and it break through that soil, listen to what I said, breakthrough. That seed can be a representation of a breakthrough that's happening in your life. So that's what I mean. Tie your garden to whatever it is that you have going on in your life. Let your seeds be your breakthrough. Let your plants be your growth. That's the kind of things we get into over here. Even though you see us in the garden and stuff all the time, we're not necessarily talking about gardening things. We talking about real life over here. And in real life, we don't mess around with snakes, bugs, or worms. Y'all know what those kind of people bring. So we don't do all of that over here. And if you're interested in growing that way, then come on over here and keep joining in with Life with Tashana and get into these conversations over here where they call me Shauna over here. But that's just a little bit about what we have going on over here. And this is a safe place for you to be able to write into the chat. You know, I'll say safe places. You can ask any question that you want to ask, especially when they have to do with gardening. You know, something may not be going right in your garden. We not professionals over here, but we learning how to grow together. Safe place to be able to ask your questions. You can be able to ask questions about any of my previous videos or whatever that you may have a question about, or you may have gone through any of those things. We don't really stay on topic like that because I don't even know how to stay on topic, because sometimes I'll be talking and I told y'all I can be in the middle of one story and then I have y'all in the midst of another story somewhere along the line. So right now we are a little bit unorganized over here, and I kind of like it, you know, because I've always tried to keep things so perfect and everything. We don't live in a perfect world, so there's no way that you can be perfect. But if that's the kind of things that you're interested in, come on over here and chill out with Shauna over here, you know. But we are going to get ready to end it. But I always be saying we gonna end it and then go right back into this chat and start reading stuff. Let me see what Savannah said. Yes, true, exactly. I used to believe everything he said because I was telling him the truth. Sad that it wasn't both ways. Feels almost like our child paid the biggest price, even though I know I did. Girl, Savannah, I feel you on that. You know, I think all of us have one of those stories on the inside of us because, you know, especially if you dated and you're not still with the same person you dated the first time in your life. I think all of us toting around those stories, you know, in ourselves somewhere. And I appreciate you for sharing that with us over here today. I appreciate all of y'all for coming through and supporting me. I've been seeing the numbers go up and down, and I'm just like, okay, Lord, we pulling the weeds out there. You know, 1 minute I'll be 16,535. The next minute I'll be 16,546. Then I go back down to the place. The numbers just be going up. I say, go ahead and weed them out. The ones that's supposed to be here, let them be here, and the ones that's not supposed to be, you know, let them do what they do. But over here, we gonna carry on with life. And if that's what you're interested in, carrying on with life and growing, keep on coming over here so we can grow together. And that is it. And that is all. Y'all have an amazing day. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to share it with somebody. Don't forget to do a remix of it. You can take little snippets of my videos and do shorts with them or whatever. You know, you see a message in there that you like or something. snip it out of there and turn it into a short or whatever. I think all of my videos are able to do that or whatever, take a little snippet out of it and send it to somebody who, that can benefit, for a day or whatever. But, again, I appreciate you all. Y'all have an amazing day and keep growing. Keep growing. See y'all later.